a 2, a 3, a 4.
We are Movie Menu Reviews, the rise of Bombshell podcasters. On today's menu, we'll be reviewing Bombshell and Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. Welcome, ladies and gents. I'm Dan the Man Muñoz, host of Movie Menu Reviews, your weekly movie news and reviews podcast.
Hey.
Live on Facebook.
We made it!
Yay! If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to your podcast, we also thank you for doing so. Joining me today is the usual brat pack of guests and commentators and reviewers.
Yes.
Joining me to my left is Chewbacca, a.k.a. Z. Also to my right is Baby Yoda, also known as Mike Stand.
Because he's a baby. Yeah. He needs to be sipping. You need to sip your cup of coffee, just like. Yeah. Oh wait, you haven't been to that. You haven't gotten to the episode yet. Never mind.
I haven't.
Never mind.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I won't say.
No, don't say nothing.
Yeah. This is not about The Mandalorian,
Nope.
So let's move on.
Let's move on.
So we have quite a few movies to cover today.
Just two.
But there's a lot to talk about with these movies.
Yeah, a lot to talk about.
So we're going to go ahead and do the first review, which will be for Bombshell. Directed by Jay Roach, written by Charles Randolph, starring Charlize Theron, Nicole Kidman, Margot Robbie, and John Lithgow. Here's the plot. A group of women take on Fox News head Roger Ailes and the toxic atmosphere he presided over the network. All right, guys. Me and Z, we both saw this movie.
We did, yeah.
Mike, you, however, did not.
What a loser.
So,
not.
Mike, you are going to decide this
feel
movie's
like
worth
one.
a dining watch in theaters, take out a way to watch it at home, or leftovers.
Leftovers. What?
This is very, very touchy.
No,
No, it's not very touchy.
Watch,
No.
watch the puns. Watch the puns.
Okay, watch Fox News.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Very good. I like
for
that.
4 hours.
Yes. There you
Before
go.
us to watch
Watch
Fox News.
Fox and Friends.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
That's enough, right?
I agree. Yes, that's
okay.
torture enough.
Good. All right.
Mike, I am tossing the hosting duties over
Yes.
to you. So please host.
All right.
Do your
Do
job.
your job.
Yeah.
Do something for once that
Good
matters.
grief, man.
Fine.
All right.
I'll finally do something. All right. Dan, what is your rating for this film?
It's a dine-in, watch it in theaters.
All right. Z?
I would have to say I'm gonna show my cards early this year and
Okay.
say this movie is probably the best movie I have seen the whole year.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is probably. You would say this is your top pick so far.
So far,
out of all the movies.
Now I
you've
haven't seen Knives Out. I haven't seen a couple of movies, but for me, this movie.
Did you see Jojo Rabbit?
I haven't seen Jojo Rabbit either, but this movie really shot up extremely high up. It's a high-octane film that revolves around drama, and I know that sounds a little counterintuitive, but it honestly feels like a thriller less than an actual drama.
But I think the craziness of that is that this is actually inspired by a true story. That this
actually happened.
Actually happened.
Yes.
It's not like a fictional world where like all this crazy stuff. This is our world that we live
Yes,
in. That's happening
that's
at
correct,
the moment.
yes.
So that's another like added on layer that they added to this film. That it's right before the Me Too movement, Time's Up movement.
It was around
like
the same
right-
time. Yeah. Because you had Roger Ailes happening at the same time that you had what was the guy's name?
Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey
Weinstein,
Weinstein. Yeah. And what I think that this movie shows you is that this was a better story to tell. Not to say that either of the stories are better, but like this was a story that because it involved Fox News, we initially have a prejudice as a country towards the toxicity that Fox News has created. So when you put these women as like the leads, there's a character or there's like a very walk-on role where somebody goes like, you're the worst person in the United, like you do the worst news.
Which is funny because that's the wife of the the guy from the league. They're both from the league.
Sure, but the point is that moment was true because we all have this conceptualization over Fox News, but because this movie really does require you to empathize, it does such a great job of making you feel for women that you wouldn't agree politically or anything like that at all. But you empathize with the torture they're going through,
which they kind of show in the trailer, right? Where they show something that your grandfather would be upset with,
Mark Duplass, yeah,
and your grandmother would. I can't remember. So your grandfather would be pissed about, and your grandmother would be afraid of.
Yeah. So I think that,
which is in the trailer.
Yeah, and for me, like in saying that this is the best movie, this movie actually bombed at the box office.
Did it?
It has, and the reason why I really want people to go watch it, so please go watch this movie. It's because this movie tells a very good story of the woman experience in the workplace, something that us dudes can never really empathize with. But this movie does a good job. I was talking to my wife about this, and she was telling me this movie is actually made for men to watch because there's a moment in which you hear voiceover repeatedly. There's a lot of voiceover in the movie, but it's needed because a woman knows what that experience is like, but us as dudes have no idea what it feels like. And this movie does such a great job of telling you in a place in which you need to be told as guys, because women, and especially what this movie does a really good job of, women are natural actors in the workplace because of the amount of harassment they're going through. And this movie does a great job of just putting that forward and going like guys, you need to see this. Like, you need to understand how bad this is for all of us. And this is during the launch of the Me Too movement. So it's like really good. And it's doing it around women who politically, religiously, you wouldn't agree with, but you're human and you empathize with their experiences and just all of that. It's such a good movie. It does a really good job of doing that.
Let's talk about the performances as well.
Yes, which I was just about to ask.
Sorry, I'm like Holstein.
No, that's okay.
You're taking his job away.
Backseat Holstein.
Yeah,
that's okay. So I know in the trailer it seems like it's the ensemble of Charlize Theron, Nicole Kidman, and Margot Robbie.
Yes,
is it okay? And how was it exactly as Dan
well,
had
the
asked?
cool thing is, or not the cool thing, I should say, but it's these three different subplots of Nicole Kidman's story of what she's going through, Charlize Theron and what she went through, and Margot Robbie's character and what they're going through, that all tying together with where they work at. But Charlize, I gotta say, Charlize for me is a
was a standout for you?
MVP in this movie.
Oh, absolutely, without doubt.
I didn't even, during the trailers, I didn't even recognize it was Charlize Theron. I thought it was Megyn Kelly from the first trailer I saw, because she looks exactly like her. Even the voice, she does the voice of Megyn Kelly.
I agree with what Dan said. Interestingly enough, Megyn Kelly, Gretchen Carlson, Nicole Kidman's playing Gretchen Carlson. And then Margot Robbie is playing Kayla Pospisil. That character, Kayla, is actually a fictionalized character, and that's something that this movie opens up with. So I thought that was a very important thing to also discuss. This movie opens with a disclaimer indicating that this movie is based off of true events, but they are characters that are created for dramatic events.
I see.
Margot Robbie is an amalgam of different women who went through the similar experience.
Gotcha.
And she also does such an amazing job. Like,
she does.
This movie was...
Kate McKinnon is in this movie as well, too.
And she's fabulous.
Great. She's
absolutely great. Yeah. She shows you the other side, which is like a Democrat in the den of wolves working. And you're just like, wow, this movie really did... this movie, and even at that, like even the supporting cast, because there's a lot of supporting cast in here that are made up of women, and all of the supporting cast are playing different characters or different depictions of what somebody goes through in the workplace when an allegation like this started prior to the Me Too movement.
How was John Lithgow as Roger Ailes?
Creepy as fuck.
Amazing.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, I would say this is probably...
He looks so different.
So different.
I don't know if he gained weight for the role, if it's makeup.
That's what I was wondering.
I think it's makeup.
I was like, is he
makeup.
wearing a fat suit? Yeah, I wasn't sure.
I believe it's makeup because there's several other actors, big actors who show up and you see really good makeup. This movie will be nominated for best...
best makeup?
Makeup, because there's so much amazing makeup.
Just Charlize Theron alone, like, it's just makeup that made her look like Megyn Kelly. No real prosthetics or anything. It was just... It's crazy.
Yeah.
So the writers writer of Bombshell also wrote The Big Short, which is a very it's very the same feel.
Yeah, and you can actually really feel the minute I walked out of this theater, I was like, this feels a lot like The Big Short.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
and sure enough, because there's a lot of like explanation, right? There's a lot of exposition needed to understand what's going on, and The Big Short did such a good job of explaining why the whole thing bombed.
And the film could be viewed as being dense because there's so much being thrown at you. But
Big Short or Bombshell?
Bombshell.
Oh, gotcha.
But it's still a character-driven story that you're able to follow it and not get lost with the story itself because the performances are so interesting to watch that you get lost in it.
Yeah, I had to go to the bathroom the entire time.
You held it? Wow.
I could not leave my seat.
That's a good sign.
Because I felt like every moment, there was no moment in which there was like a lull. Like as if we'll talk about in Star Wars, there was no heavy lulls. It was just all go. Again, it felt like suspense, and it did such a good job of just making you feel like you are these people. A great empathy machine.
Neither of you guys mentioned Nicole Kidman. How was she?
She was great. No,
she's also great.
Yeah,
okay.
She plays more of a backseat role. So you have
the whole thing. It starts off with Nicole Kidman's character.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of bookends it with Nicole Kidman's character.
Got it.
And it's like Charlize and
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie, yeah.
In the middle. But from what she has, what Nicole Kidman's character has done, she does such a great job.
Yes.
Got you.
Because what you have are three different stories. The story of somebody who is being currently abused, somebody who is recently abused, and then somebody who is over the abuse. So Nicole Kidman, Gretchen's character, like I said, this movie does such a good job of kind of depicting these different phases.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say that. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's the different phases that they show.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so Nicole Kidman's character is what starts this whole process is because it's not a spoiler, I don't think, because it happened in real life that Gretchen is let go.
Yes,
gotcha.
she's fired.
She starts this whole investigation part, which unravels this whole scandal that's been going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
And I know it's also directed by Jay Roach, who's done comedies.
Interesting.
He's done all the Austin Power movies.
Yeah.
He did the campaign, Meet the Fockers, the campaign, which was also a really fun movie. But yeah, I think that this movie does play as a comedy, but more as a dark comedy because you're laughing in moments in which you need that laugh.
Well, for us, I feel like because I guess we're more liberal than the characters in the movie, but a lot of the things that they talk about it's really.
It's like liberal leaning, I guess.
No. It's. I could see a lot of conservatives people talking like that and having those beliefs. And it's us being like, is that real?
Yeah.
And they do talk like that.
But I think that ultimately the fact that the movie does utilize the humor to counterbalance some of the heavier things, that's the really important thing. And I think that in the same way that the Joker movie like really required that level of nastiness that only a comedic director can do, this movie also does something similar in which you do feel a level of nastiness that's needed because it's a terrible experience. And Jay Roach, I think I would have enjoyed seeing this movie in the hands of a female director. But I think that Jay Roach does a really good job. There's that moment that you do get to see what the
like, honestly, I kind of would have liked to have seen like Olivia Wilde take this on.
Yeah,
to see what she would have done.
Absolutely. With without a doubt, Olivia Wilde would have been perfect for this. So I think he does a great job. And I'm looking forward to the Weinstein story and maybe that being directed by Olivia Wilde, because what I think this movie does is open the door for this type of dialogue, because I don't think people are going to watch it and in the same vein as people who didn't go watch 12 Years a Slave.
It's very heavy.
People are avoiding this movie.
And very real.
And people are uncomfortable talking about this central topic of the Me Too movement, which was the women being harassed in the workplace. This movie does a really good job. I think that's going to get nominated like up the yin yang, and I think that that's a good sign, because what that'll do is it'll force people to really go watch movies like this and open up the dialogue over like what it actually looks like to be a woman in the workplace.
Okay.
And also hopefully show, man, don't be pigs.
Yeah.
Workplace.
Well, and it's like there's some great moments in here, because we think if you know anything about the Me Too movement, Bill O'Reilly and everybody else in the males in the Fox network, they were all pigs, and it does a really good job of what passive sexual harassment looks like, because you see the den of men just sitting there going like, oh, I don't know why she said that, women wouldn't say it, and it does a really good job of showing you what that looks like.
And also like it really brought on this like weird way of thinking, or because like Charlize Theron, like Megyn Kelly would speak up and she'd have to defend that she wasn't a feminism to the men, because the men are like, oh, are you a feminism now because we can't like make remarks about the length of your skirt, which is like backward thinking, because it's not just to be respected is not to be feminism. And for them to use that as a definition is just like mind-boggling.
And that's the culture that Fox News created, right? That's kind of what they were doing.
Boys will be boys,
and it's nothing to say that the women who were involved in, and that's the thing. Again, I come back to this focus, which is, I don't agree with Megyn Kelly. I don't agree with Gretchen Carlson, but I can empathize with them, and this movie leads you to that. Okay. In like the first 5 minutes, you are engaged, and you are victims, you are survivors, and I am there with you. I want to hear your story, and this movie does a really good job of showing you that. So, yeah, this is my top pick.
All right, I think I've heard enough. You guys, Z, do you have any last words?
My last words are, this movie is currently sitting at 67% tomato meter, and that's fresh technically, but that is underperforming, which is ridiculous because this movie does such a good job of actually showing you what it looks like. The audience score, though, is 83%, so I would say, guys, go watch this movie. Like, honestly, support movies like this. This is the one type of movie you want to support with your pocketbook. I know it's Christmas. I know you want to take your family to watch Star Wars, but make time for this movie, because you'll regret that. You'll regret the experience of not being able to empathize with what's going on here.
Got it, Dan. You got any last words about the film?
Great performance. Go watch it in theaters. Definitely not for kids.
Thank you.
And really just enjoy the performances. They're great. I would not be surprised if any of them get nominated for the best actress or best supporting actress.
And if you watch this movie, tell people you watch this movie, because I think that's the other thing. People were coming up to me and asking me, like, did you watch Star Wars? And I was like, yeah, but you should go watch Bombshell.
Got it.
Like, this movie, make it word of mouth. Make this movie happen. This movie is great. Go watch this movie.
All right. I think I've heard enough. I'm excited to go watch this now. I mean, I was before, but I was a little concerned with how villainous John Lithgow would be. So I'm happy to hear that he's
a great villain, though. That's the thing, is that he's played great villains in the past.
Okay. Yeah, this sounds like a dine-in.
Yeah.
I think you guys should definitely go watch it and support this film. I think that's what it needs, and we should definitely support films similar to how it sounds like you guys are describing.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and hand off the hosting duties back over to you, Dan. So thank you.
No, let me go ahead and
you're back in the front seat.
Back in the front seat, but I need to wipe it down because there's germs all over it now. Thanks, Mike.
There's cookie crumbs all over the steering.
All over the place.
Coffee stains on the seat.
Okay, on that note, let's move on to the next movie review, which you all been waiting for, I'm sure.
Movie menu.
Yeah.
But before we go there,
okay,
we do have a comment.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yes.
From Nabor Arias. Hola, muchachos. Come through, Dan. Hugs. What's up, Nabor? That's a good friend of mine. Hey, thanks for the shout out. Now back to the movie review.
That was
awesome.
Wow, that was just simple.
Thanks for the shout out.
No, well, Dan just took a moment to just simply pat himself on the back. Good job, Dan.
Yeah, of course. Somebody said good job, Dan.
Yeah. There were other comments in there.
Let me stop the whole show and say
there's other comments in there, but no, that's the only one I really wanted.
All right.
Next we're reviewing is Star Wars Episode 9: The Rise of Skywalker, directed by J.J. Abrams, written by J.J. Abrams, Chris Terrio, Derek Connolly, and Colin Trevorrow. Mm-hmm. Here's the plot. The surviving resistance faces the First Order once more as Rey, Finn, and Poe Dameron's journey continues. With the power and knowledge of generations behind them, the final battle commences. Starring Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Anthony Daniels, Carrie Fisher, and John Williams. All right, guys. So we're going to break this up into two parts.
You mean composed?
Composed by. But yes, but he's also a character in this story.
Yeah.
He comes out in this movie.
Z made me put that in.
Thank
So
you,
know.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
So we're going to break this up into two parts. So the first part is going to be spoiler-free review, and then we're going to do a spoilers review. So right now we're in our spoiler-free, so let's try to keep it spoiler-free. Though we are going to have to talk about the first 8 films in the Skywalker saga. So those will be spoiled. So if you haven't seen episode 1 through episode 8, just be warned, we're going to spoil that, though I know it's been like 30 whatever years. 42 years. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's people who just haven't seen it yet. So
yeah, and
just be warned.
Yeah.
But we will do our best to not spoil The Rise of Skywalker until we get to our spoilers section. So guys, depending on your spoiler-free review, I would decide this movie is worth the dining watch in theaters, take out, wait and watch at home, or leftovers, poke your eye out with the lightsaber. Have you guys seen that video?
Yeah. I haven't. Luke going like, how do you work this thing? And just pointing it right at his head.
That sounds
All right, guys. So no guess, no points. So we're good to go.
Go.
Mike, rate this film.
Dine in.
Z?
Take out.
And I'm going to go with dine in, but I'm going to say a soft dine in.
Okay.
Interesting.
So interestingly enough, this movie.
Okay, here
we go. So let's talk about the good things in this movie. John Williams is fantastic in this movie, and he's not an actor. He is a composer of the entire Star Wars. I don't even know what to call them, trilogy of trilogies.
Right. Well, the Skywalker saga.
And I think that this movie, he composed the original, so calling it nostalgia is really like the wrong term, but he does such a good job of really making you feel with the music like you've gone on this journey, because we all have. And I think that it goes to credit to John Williams and his ability to compose, that you really do feel nostalgia and sentiment, and you walk out of this movie really feeling the emotional impact without even considering what's on screen. Because I think that's amazing. I know. What did you guys think of the music?
It was great. John Williams always knocks it out of the park.
Because he brought things in from like The Return of the Jedi. He brought things in from like Episode 1. He brought things from everywhere. Like it was like a medley of beautiful music. It was.
Though I kind of wished, even though Episode 1 wasn't the greatest, Duels of Fate is still one of the best songs.
I know. I wish I heard
Star Wars.
That. Yeah.
Like of another epic song like that. But I guess in that defense, there wasn't really nothing too epic in this film.
I was gonna say that. Like I wish there was a little bit more of the lightsaber duel. Because honestly, the best fight we've ever seen on screen has been Anakin versus Ben Kenobi, and we didn't see any of that here.
And Darth Maul.
Well, no, for sure, absolutely. But I'm saying but that was actually really kick-ass. Like that was amazing lightsaber fight. But you don't get any of that in this movie, and so that's where I agree that we don't get that epicness.
Well, I mean, there's some cool lightsaber battles, but even still, like I know people are shitting on The Last Jedi, but the throne room fight is probably one of the best fights as well. That was a great fight.
It's funny because retrospectively, you can look back and say, you know what, The Last Jedi wasn't that bad, because this movie proved it. And so we'll talk a little bit about that, but I still want to. I want to focus on the good right now. Are you disagreeing with me?
No. Keep going.
Oh, okay.
Do you still think The Last Jedi was a terrible movie?
No. I don't think The Last Jedi was a terrible movie.
Okay, all right, good.
Okay.
It's a dine-in.
No, The Last Jedi. This is The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting my Star Wars film
good.
The movie previous to this one.
8. Yes, it was okay. It was a takeout for me. But I think The Rise of the Skywalker definitely. I feel like
in it?
I feel like it was the best of the 3 that came out of 7, 8, 9.
Interesting. So, I disagree with that entirely, but okay.
That's fine. But I
kind of disagree too, but it's okay.
Yeah. Well,
we'll talk about it.
Like a part of what I enjoyed about it was the way they put the aliens in
the practical,
it's just so it was so fun to watch all the
even like the little one was fun.
Yeah,
that was a really cute little thing. Yeah,
Yeah, are you talking
mechanic.
about Babu?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
Which is battling Baby Yoda right now. Did you see those memes?
No, I haven't.
Like,
That
my
sounds-
15 minutes up, my 15 minutes fame are up.
Yeah,
and it's
there's no way. Baby
it's not
Yoda's still the
Babu.
cuter one. This one was an ugly ass looking thing.
It's still kind of cute though.
I
It's still
disagree.
kind
I would like to work for Babu. I want him to be my boss.
Your boss, Babu.
And then I can
Babu boss?
I can be repairing stuff and he'd be like no like that and like tell me what to do. But yeah, I just loved all the practical effects in this, and that was what I enjoyed about Rogue One as well, is the way they used all the effects for the aliens in that film. I feel like
the puppeteering and the practical.
yes, I think all of that kind of like went into this film, which
Yeah,
made me
there was
enjoy
a
it.
lot of that in this one.
Yeah, which made me enjoy it so much more. I think at some point they had like it looked like they had real horses.
They
with-
did. They
which looked awesome.
They look like
And-
horses.
and I was
they just had like stuff covering them.
yeah,
They were horses.
It looks so cool compared to like not. I don't mean to bash like CGI, but I.
should.
Why do you hate CGI, Mike?
it's great, but
there's thousands of people who work at visual effects companies. that
I know.
You just are shitting all over
I
them.
don't mean to.
On Christmas Eve.
How could you? No, but I think I feel like that was one of the strengths of this film, like those special effects decisions that they made, and of course there is CGI in there too, but it's a lot less noticeable,
Yes.
which I think was fantastic. So I really enjoyed the special effects decisions, which is why it's one of the better of the three films.
Okay, and I would agree with you. I think that is entirely a J.J.
Valid?
Abrams thing.
Okay.
No, it's a J.J. Abrams thing because he's the one who introduced the I'm going to bring him back to practical effects. Ryan Johnson descended from that and said, "No, let's do CGI." And you're right. I think that Return of the Jedi had some pretty awful CGI. The horses in that one were really awful looking, and this one they look a lot better. But I think that ultimately we still run into the issue of like the plot holes in this movie, and we'll get there. But like, yes, practical effects looked great. The other thing that I think was fabulous about this movie was the acting in this movie. This movie, as weak of a script as it is, and it has some amazing acting in it. Adam Driver for me was the MVP. He was great. Such a great job. You really felt what he was going through, and I thought that was fantastic. And I think even at that, I forget who the actor is who plays Emperor Palpatine, but that was he delivers the camp that we loved about the originals really well. You also had Daisy Ridley, who did a really a substantial job of carrying this whole saga on her back, and I believed it. I thought it was really good. I wished a lot of things were different in this movie that I will talk about in a few minutes, but like I think that the acting in this film were solid, absolutely solid.
Sure, I thought John Boyega did a great job.
But
as
John
well.
Boyega was really good.
I liked Oscar Isaac. I thought his character growth.
They gave him a lot more to play with.
Yes, a lot more in this movie than the other movies.
I know, and it was really, really good to watch that. I would say that their arcs are weak, and again, we will talk about that in spoiler section. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Now, I agree. I enjoyed special effects. I enjoyed the acting. I enjoyed the music.
It's interesting to hear you say soft dine in. I'm very interested to hear.
Rigo would be
mainly,
dying.
It's
right
mainly the
script.
The script.
The
story
is weak.
But to be fair, there was so much stuff that happened in this production that went wrong. Unfortunately, Carrie Fisher passed away.
Yes.
So,
but here's the thing, though.
The scenes that they have. Hold on.
The
scenes that they have in the Rise of Skywalker are his archival footage that they had from The Last Jedi. So they basically had to write a whole script around what they had to use
that makes sense.
But here's the thing, though, right? And again, kudos to Adam Driver for doing the right kind of acting in this. Those are the parts of the movie that I think worked the best. I had an emotional investment in what happened with her character and Adam Driver's character, and all of that worked really well. But the production, the behind the scenes in this movie. Now, when I left this movie,
also, I'm not done talking about the problems in the production.
Okay.
So,
I was going to go.
Colin Trevorrow was also supposed to direct this film,
and they fired him.
And they fired him. And JJ came back on, but they came back on with no script.
Yes.
So they had to write the script within the 2 years of basically when The Last Jedi happened because Rian Johnson didn't follow the script of Episode 7.
Right.
He kind of created his own. So then they had to try to redo everything they did from Episode 8 back into Episode 9. So it's a very disjointed trilogy because it's like the directors and writers are going back and forth, telling their own story and then trying to retcon what happened previously.
And this movie actually feels a little bit more like a sequel to The Force Awakens than a sequel to The Last Jedi.
Well,
now,
it's almost like if The Last Jedi didn't exist, except
which is okay.
Except no, because
no, it's not because we have
Well, I don't want to go into.
Okay.
I want to go into the positive about.
Okay, go ahead.
So
is there more positive?
They kept the relationship or connection that Rey and Kylo have from the Last Jedi into this film, and that was my favorite thing about The Last Jedi was their chemistry, their connection of the Force, because the Force is for me is what's interesting about Star Wars, is what I want to know more about. The other characters are cool to watch, but for me it was always about the Jedis and the Sith.
That's interesting because for me, it's the opposite. For me, it's always been the relationships, always been the character growth of the Skywalkers and everything revolving around that. And for me, as an adult, I'll be very clear. As an adult, I have now actually moved away from caring about the space wizards to caring about Daisy Ridley, and in the Last Jedi, they said, and they retconned it so damn hard in this movie, that you are born to poor parents, like you don't matter. And that's the part from me from The Last Jedi that I really love, the idea, the conceptualization that anyone could rise above where they were born and how they were born and become a powerful element in the universe. And then this movie retcons the shit out of it and ruins it. So
Let's not spoil that.
I know. No, I'm not spoiling. I'm just simply stating a clear.
But you're giving an assumption and implying that there's something else more.
Now, the one. Okay, can I just intervene here too? The other thing about this movie is that this movie went through a lot of writing phases. One of which was Colin Trevorrow, who wrote Jurassic World, Jurassic Worlds. But this movie also went to Derek Connolly, who also wrote Kong Island and Detective Pokemon, Detective Pikachu. And then one of the final writers, and here's a really important thing. When I walked out of this movie, my first thought was, this felt like the Justice League. It felt so disjointed and all over the shop, only to then find out
it was Chris Terrio.
That Chris Terrio, the guy who wrote Justice League and Batman v Superman, absolutely, is also involved in this movie, which tells me a lot about the production because they were really forcing to meet a deadline. Now,
that's what it is.
Let's talk about the deadlines because deadlines are really important. We've talked about Watchmen and we've talked about the TV shows that we've really enjoyed, The Mandalorian, because they allow them to have time to develop these ideas and really work things through. I think if J.J. Abrams was given one more year, this would have been a great movie.
Well, now I feel like because Chris Terrio was part of this, now there's going to be a Abrams cut. Like the Snyder cut.
Yeah.
Because it's
release the Snyder cut.
Release the Abrams cut. Because let's talk about the bad.
Please, yeah.
So the bad thing about the film that I felt was unfortunate was that it felt rushed.
Yeah.
Nothing felt earned.
Nope.
It was even in the crawl, the first sentence in the crawl, which I'm not going to say what it is because you should go watch it, or I'll say it in the spoiler section. Yeah. But the first line in the crawl is ridiculous.
It is.
It's so silly.
And it's even more ridiculous.
It took me out of the film. I'm like, what?
It's even more ridiculous when you find out where you can hear that little sentence, because they did a sort of like a little like Easter egg. You can find that sentence in Fortnite. If you play Fortnite, you know what that sentence is. I'm sorry, but I have to play Fortnite now to understand a part of Star Wars? Fuck you, Disney. No, I'm not going to do that.
I wouldn't say Disney, more like Lucasfilms. But and then they also retcon like relationships that were built in The Last Jedi,
right?
And didn't
they didn't
minus Kylo and Rey, but the other relationships built nothing to deal with in this movie.
No, they were all completely
marginalized the character. That kind of pissed me off a little bit because I feel like this character went through a lot in Last Jedi.
You could say her name. Yeah.
Rose. I feel like they really fucked Rose over.
Yeah, I thought
just
so
because
too.
of the
backlash.
trolls. Yeah, the trolls that would like. I heard a lot about them doing fan service, and I didn't understand before I watched it what they talked about fan service. Because for me, fan service is like appealing to the fans, like doing good, blah, blah, blah. But this is not fan service. This was troll service.
Yeah.
This was them hearing the backlash from The Last Jedi, and instead of like challenging it, they just backed down and was like, sure, I'll give you whatever you want.
Let's just ignore that entirely. Yeah. And there's just so many things that were retconned. Now, the other thing for me that was really frustrating, and again, I'm not going to go into spoilers just yet, but the one thing that really frustrated me was that there was this expanded universe of Star Wars, expanded universe. And when they started the new trilogy, they kept telling us, J.J. Abrams kept telling us, no, that's been rewritten. We're not going to be doing that anymore. We're going to do something different. And then this movie introduces all of that expanded universe as if they weren't telling us to ignore it previously.
Oh yeah, Legends,
all of that stuff, all the stuff that we loved as fans growing up. I remember me and Dan, you and I, growing up loving Star Wars.
Yeah.
We grew up together.
Yeah.
And we would talk Star Wars a lot.
Yeah, we'd have like our own Star Wars club.
Yeah, it was all. They told us at the onset of Episode 7, ignore all that. We're starting something new. And I thought, okay, great, let's do that. But then this movie, I don't know if J.J. Abrams or if it was somebody else in production said, let's bring that back and not tell anyone.
Bring a lot of stuff back.
By doing that, they have disjointed the entire narrative that they were setting up from Episode 7 and 8, and have just now, in my opinion, ruined Star Wars. I honestly walked out of this movie not angry. I wasn't angry at this movie. I was really disappointed and sad. I was incredibly up until I watched Bombshell did I actually feel happy again.
I still feel like there's still hope and potential. I think Star Wars was given a shitty circumstance, and they tried their best to recover from what they could recover from. Did it work 100%? Unfortunately, it didn't.
Yeah.
But I still feel like there's still potential. I mean, they have the Mandalorian out there.
Well,
Like, that's showing proof the fact that there is still stories out there that we want to watch.
Dan, did you feel like they ruined Star Wars as well?
No, I didn't feel like they ruined Star Wars.
All right. And also,
but that's because I know a lot of the background about this film and what they went into, and I feel like to make the deadline of this, I really feel like if JJ did have a year, or it wasn't rushed, because bad decisions. This is what happened with Star Wars, was a lot of bad decisions. They should have had a story basically fleshed out for the trilogy.
They should have had one writer the same way that they did the original Star Wars.
They could connect things to have payoffs by we watched it in the 7th film, and we have a payoff in the 9th film.
Yeah.
These 3 films are so disconnected that there are no real payoffs, which is why Episode 9 feels so rushed, because they have to introduce it in the 9th movie as opposed to it being set up in the 7th movie.
Yeah.
Like, did you guys know? Okay, I can't say it.
Yeah, save it for spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah, save it for spoilers.
But yes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
This is
Oh yeah, go ahead, Dan. Go ahead.
This is not a spoiler.
Right.
Do you guys don't? If you guys know,
Can you just
no,
whisper
never
it?
mind.
Just okay. Shut up now.
I'm really not.
Also, can you guys describe retcon for those that
Okay,
don't know? You guys
retroactive continuity. That's what retcon means.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, what it is, it's a technique of writing in which a writer who has written themselves into a hole has to write themselves out of that hole. And by hole, I mean a plot hole. They're writing,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden you can't really explain it. The Batman scenario is the best one. Batman, if you ever read the comic books, Batman always gets out of whatever problem situation he is. He's a human. He shouldn't be able to, but they always retroactively introduce, he had originally thought about that previously, so he planned for it, and he's now getting out of it.
Or his utility belt will have something that will go ahead and help him out of it.
So retroactive continuity is just a lazy style of writing. Now, can it be used for good? Yes. I think that there are elements in which you can use retcons really well, and I think that Episode 7 does a really good job of retconning a couple of things, but this movie doesn't really do a good job of
I feel like Episode 7 did like good setup stuff.
Yes.
Like we are introduced with an image of the Knights of Ren, which is in the trailers. We do see that there are Knights of Ren. I feel like they Captain Phasma that again.
They did. But when I was talking about retcons in the Star Wars universe, they got rid of the midichlorians, for example. They no longer talk about midichlorians.
Well, they did that in Episode 2, though. Also, Episode 3.
That was a retcon, right? The midichlorians were a retcon by George Lucas. But in episode 7, they said, no, let's get away with that. Let's now create Force-sensitive individuals. And so that's a retcon that never existed prior to the Star Wars story until they had to retroactively introduce this idea. So that's what a retcon is. And the retcons in this movie are ridiculous, and we will go into them
in the spoilers.
Yes.
So now knowing that, I know that both you guys enjoyed the Mandalorian very much.
Correct.
I've seen the first 2 episodes, which were fantastic. I know that those first 2 episodes were written by Jon Favreau.
Correct.
Was the rest of the series also written by Jon Favreau as well?
Co-written.
Co-written?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's been co-written.
Yeah.
So essentially, what you have in a TV show is you have a lead writer.
Yeah.
And
So
that
he's
lead writer works
yeah.
around other staff writers.
Got you. So knowing what he's being successful, how he's successfully written The Mandalorian, if they end up bringing out a new trilogy, would you be excited if Jon Favreau wrote that new trilogy?
They are, and that's what's
Oh,
going to happen
okay.
next. But
Awesome.
I think to your point, the problem with this trilogy is that they didn't have a lead writer on staff. And actually, no, they did. They had an archivist. So Disney has an archivist, and they also have a Lucasfilm archivist, and they weren't allowed to look at the script. So imagine this, okay? There's a person in Lucasfilms who knows all about the Force, knows all about where all these characters are at, and he's the one who oversees, or she is the one who oversees the scripts. That department wasn't allowed to look at this script for the new movie, the Rise of Skywalker, because it was so late. And that's what the reason why this movie is really bad is because it doesn't fit within the Star Wars universe. They
Gotcha.
were retroactively trying to add these things in there.
I disagree that it's a terrible film. I feel like this film has really interesting ideas.
They do.
And really interesting.
I'm not saying it's a terrible
stuff.
film. I'm saying
you said it was a terrible
Sorry,
film. Though.
it's a disappointing film. It is. That's what that is. This movie is disappointing on many factors.
But I feel the only reason why I feel like is because of, like I mentioned before, it's bad communication within the company and bad decision making. Not having a staff writer or lead writer for all 3 films. The fact, at least to have like drafts and then have someone look over it again.
Yeah.
So that way it's continuing to grow as opposed to, I feel like this was the first draft of this movie.
Agreed.
And they shot the first draft of this movie without it actually being edited down or talked about, or like, I'm really interested to see like those videos of people talking about the making of this movie.
Yeah.
I want to see how deep dive they
You
would.
want the decision making. You want to see what was the
The thought process behind it.
Yeah, and only to this marker, J.J. Abrams has attested. You're allowed to hate this movie.
He did, and he's gone around and said because let's talk about this. So the Rotten Tomatoes score for the critics, which is 389 critics, is 56%.
Yeah.
However, the audience rating, which is 42,471 verified ratings, is 86%.
Yes.
So, which is funny because The Last Jedi is the opposite. The Last Jedi
They had a better
had a higher
critic rating.
critic rating, yeah.
and then it had a
lower
low audience
audience
rating.
rating.
And I think the reason to that is that the Last Jedi did innovative things. They weren't great. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so the critic rating for 457 reviews from critics on The Last Jedi is 91%. An audience, which is 216,184 reviews from audience score, is 43%.
Yeah, that tells you a lot. I think people will go back and edit those and shift their thoughts because I think that this movie really does show you how much Rian Johnson actually contributed to the Star Wars lore. I honestly do feel like moving away from this, I will say that I'm going to watch The Last Jedi and find something that I really like in it in contrast to this movie.
For me, like, okay, people are upset because how Luke Skywalker was treated in The Last Jedi, which I can get, but he was like no different from Yoda.
It's true. That's what I mean. It's like there are some.
But then that is a complaint that a lot of people have as well with this. Force Awakens was a remake of A New Hope.
Yes.
Last Jedi had a lot of elements from Back to Empire Strikes Back, And then this one has a lot of elements of Return of the Jedi.
It does.
So it's like people were saying, why did they do this trilogy when it was basically a remake of the original trilogy?
Well, and that's something that J.J. Abrams, went on in an interview. He did state this movie is essentially a greatest hits. And him saying that tells me everything I need to know about this movie, is that this movie is, in fact, the greatest hits. It's essentially that episode in the TV series that plays an epilogue, and it just shows you where all the characters are at and how they're going to live on. That's what this episode is. And I think that was the wrong way of doing it. I honestly think that they should have continued Rian Johnson's script and seen it through. As much as we would have hated it as fanboys, there would have been some innovation there that we would have at least seen and said, well, they earned that. Let's go with that. This movie does not have anything that earns.
No, yeah.
And there are so many things that are literally just lazy stuff. Should we go into spoilers? Do we have any comments before we get there?
Do you have anything you want to say, Mike?
I'm just.
Yeah, we have a comment.
Yeah. Go ahead and read some comments.
From Alexis Gaines, we have quite a bit of comment.
All right, go for it.
Everything was revealed, family-wise connections of the Force, bad and good. Why stop using the special effects when you've been using it the whole time for the horses? History-wise of the films of Star Wars, yes, straight emotional push movie, and it's not going to bank in theaters.
Nope.
I mean, this movie could have been done better. 6 Underground on Netflix when I got home was better than when that should have never happened.
She's saying that 6 Underground's Michael Bay film is better than Star Wars?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's like, that should have never happened.
It shouldn't happen. Go watch Bombshell. That's what I would say.
All right, so let's go ahead and move over to the spoilers section of our review.
So if you have not seen this movie, we urge you to walk away slowly.
Or run.
Or run. Because...
Spoilers.
Yeah.
We are now in spoiler territory. You have been warned. We even have a sign. Look at our sign.
Yes.
That says spoilers.
So what if they're on the podcast? They can't actually see
That's
the
what
sign.
we're hearing that say spoilers.
Oh, I see. I was worried. I was like, what? But how would they know? They can't see it on the podcast.
That's where they go to our Facebook page or YouTube and watch us live as well.
Well, that requires them to do more work than I want them to.
That's okay.
I'm still interested at what you said earlier. Z. You said
God, yeah.
you said
Wow, you're actually interested in some of these.
I know. Usually
I thought you were going to talk about me.
Usually just fall asleep.
It's just
What are you interested about?
When you said that you'd be disappointed as a fanboy, but you'd enjoy that they would follow through with the script, which is an interesting.
I know.
It's an interesting thing to say that like you'd.
Okay.
It'd be like to follow through with something, even though it would like if you would have enjoyed it even less, or would you have just enjoyed the film because they followed through with the previous?
Well, it would have had a direction to go into, and it would have been something where they weren't pussyfooting around, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like it almost the one thing I really dislike about this film is that it was made for like trolls, or not just trolls, but like people who hated The Last Jedi.
I agree with that.
Which I know you liked it, and you didn't like The Last Jedi.
So clearly, I'm a Star Wars troll.
You are. Because there's so much.
No. Can I go into it?
Hold on. I don't think trolls is the right word.
I would say not the trolls.
I would say it's more for like, I think like casual Star Wars fans will probably. Okay. I mean, am I wrong in guessing that a casual Star Wars fan would probably like this more than like how deep you guys are in it as far as like the canon?
Yeah, because you guys are stupid.
No, because because for me, it was like an enjoyable popcorn film. And there are things where it's like I've never seen that.
But Star Wars is not a popcorn film. That is no.
I think that I 100% disagree with you.
No. It's when they talk about popcorn film, you think like Transformers.
Yes,
like
correct.
There's no depth to it. There's all like action.
I mean, if you watch, I disagree with both of you guys. If you watch episode 4, like the level of camp that's in the
but it's 4, also following this guy's journey through who he's been and where he's going, and it's like someone who could be relatable to us.
I don't disagree with that, but I think like it's a super campy trilogy.
Yes,
4, 5,
agreed,
and 6.
agreed. I completely agree with that.
And they're like so silly. I mean, they're like. I think a lot of the reverence that it goes with Star Wars is like how impactful the amount of nostalgia that is in 4, 5, and 6.
When
and
was the last time we saw 4, 5, and 6?
No.
And then as he had mentioned, like so much to the point where they're trying to recreate that same magic.
Okay. So
Which was the problem?
I know I'm alone in this.
Which was
but-
the problem in this trilogy is that they try to do that when they
Yes.
should have taken more of a daring risk.
But I think that like it's that fine line that they're dancing on. If they make the great risk, like people are going to be complaining.
Ryan Johnson did the risk.
I know, but people will be
Well, there
complaining.
were still elements of Empire Strikes Back.
I think people will complain whichever way they go. It's like a lose-lose situation for them.
Okay.
So
yes.
I'm not like saying that the points that you guys give are invalid, but
yes, you are.
But
Okay.
you guys are clearly wrong.
Okay. So,
No, I'm just saying.
So let me be very clear. Star Wars, honestly, and if you don't believe me, watch the cartoons. Like seriously,
There's
watch
so much lore.
Watch the Nickelodeon stories. Watch the Mandalorian. Fuck, that entire series
It's
is
great.
not about. It's not about the popcorn. It's about the storytelling. It's about
agree.
how character of good versus evil. That is not popcorn. Popcorn is Transformers, big motorized things hitting each other.
Okay.
And explosions happening. Star Wars has those elements,
Yes.
but they are not the fundamental things that we enjoy
Fall
watching.
in love with.
And now here's the thing:
Fall in love with the character.
you were asking about was why would I want Ryan Johnson's story to continue? And Dan had said it is I want some continuity to see where these arcs go to. The payoff. Rose and Finn was a terrible plot, but I would have been enjoying it had it actually turned into something that was real and emotional and that we actually learned from.
Enhanced it as opposed to saying it never happened.
Yeah, or
I
even
get it.
worse, saying that like Finn is in love with Rey, which what?
Oh, so no.
Yeah.
So that's what
we are in spoilers.
That's what I
now,
was going to bring up.
So
Do you
Dan-
guys know
Dan
what Finn was going to say when he was going to tell Rey something?
I don't.
It's not "I love you."
I know that, but they play it that way.
Well, what was he gonna say then?
That he's force sensitive.
Okay.
To which the answer is, who fucking cares?
I know. I don't know why he needs to tell her that. They should have just showed it.
Yeah, just
not
show
tell
it.
it.
Well, they do show it. They do show it.
Yeah.
But they don't. That whole moment could have been just taken out.
Yeah.
And instead it becomes a
yeah.
humor point of like, what were you going to tell her? What were you going to tell her? Why are you going to tell me now? And it was literally just a waste of time plot.
Yeah, I agree.
And sadly for me, like I was like, okay, I never thought that Finn was in love with Rey. That never, for me, showed at all in Episode 7. So why are you now
Wow, Rigo, really?
trying to seed it in Episode 9? What did Rigo say?
Rigo says Finn was going to tell Rey to not watch Cats.
Good. And that's probably true. But so what I'm trying to say, Mike, and honestly, it's like this: the entire narrative that George Lucas laid in front of us from Episode 4, 5, and 6. By the way, 5 and 6 were directed by a different director. Was a narrative of
And also co-writers as well.
of a hero's journey, and
Yes.
that's what we wanted to watch. And even at that, watch the prequels, and although they were really, really badly done, he still kind of goes for that with the campiness within it, and that is good storytelling.
Yeah, I'm not like when I say like popcorn film, I don't mean it like I don't mean that it's empty, and I don't mean that they're. I mean, obviously,
but you
like,
do, because this movie feels empty. This movie does in fact feel empty. The heart is
For me,
I
the
think-
redeeming factor in this movie, and it's what was the redeeming factor for Last Jedi, which is probably why I do like, because that feels like the only thing that continued from The Last Jedi was Kylo and Rey.
Yes, agreed.
And those relationship and characters were so interesting to watch.
Except-
it made the film, for me, work.
Except it was ruined in the final scene
It's
because they had. Okay,
it was expected though.
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I honestly thought the same way that Rey and Finn's story was not earned. That kiss before
it was definitely earned.
It was not.
It
earned.
was earned from The Last Jedi.
You know what it was? It was, and I remember seeing this in Bryan Singer. May his career rest in pieces. Did X-Men, X-Men and X-Men 2, and in X-Men 2, when he had already written the script out for it, had a moment in which he was like, you know what? I want Wolverine to kiss Jean Grey. And it was entirely unearned, and that was a moment in which in Star Wars for me
it was earned.
It
was earned.
They built it up. It had been built.
But here's the thing. Okay, so I was walking around the mall and I was people were asking me like, "What'd you think?" And I was like, "What did you think?" And when I mentioned the kiss, everybody I talked to was like, "Yeah, that was really bad."
No,
it was a really awkward.
That
kiss. And it was
it was
a second awkward kiss in Star Wars history, and that tells you a lot because the last one was Luke and his damn sister, and that's just you know what I mean. Like
that was awkward after the fact. We didn't know before, but no, their relationship is what saves this movie. If it wasn't for them,
I agree, but the kiss ruins it.
I was happy with the kiss.
I liked the we're in spoilers now, so I can talk about it. I liked the healing power part.
Okay.
So when Rey dies, as we know, Rey dies.
We're in spoilers, Mike. We've all seen the movie.
Yes. And then Kylo heals her, and then sacrifices, and then he dies.
But why doesn't she heal him back again?
A part of me was hoping they would just keep healing each other and dying.
Yes, I agree.
that would just go on for like 10 minutes.
She doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about? She knows how to heal people.
I think. He ends up like disappearing like a.
But if healing and bringing someone back from the dead are different.
Yeah, that's a good point.
In episode 3, the Emperor himself teases Anakin with the power of bringing someone back from the dead.
Oh, okay.
And it's why Anakin goes to the dark side. And so we see it fulfilled here with Kylo bringing his love, Rey, back from the dead.
Okay, great. Here's my question. How did he learn that power?
No.
Exactly.
How did Rey learn that power?
Exactly the right question.
Well, they don't show
it. They don't explain it.
I don't think has to. That's nitpicking.
That is entirely what happened here.
You don't have to see.
That's what
how they learn.
No, that's exactly what the problem is. That they.
Do you have a problem with Baby Yoda just knowing how to heal? In Mandalorian? Sorry, Mike. Spoiler.
No. I did see that. Well, like after I saw it, I was like, "Oh, is that okay?" Got it.
Yeah. No, okay. So that's one problem. The other problem for me was Leia.
It wasn't a problem.
Leia being a Jedi, which is the biggest retcon ever.
I agree with you there. I was like, wait a minute. What?
Yeah.
She wasn't. She gave it up though.
Okay. No, that was
no.
Was that in? I don't remember, but was that in any of the lore ever?
Nope.
I was like, why does she never had a?
You know what it was? It was in the expanded universe.
No. In the Leia book, she was training to be a Jedi, but she gives it up for the political.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to read a book to enjoy a movie.
That's funny.
The book was written like years ago.
No,
that's funny hearing it from a guy that normally reads the book before he watches a movie.
But
look it up
one time. You didn't read the book.
It's canon. It's there. And the good thing is,
that's lazy.
She
lazy writing.
They show she wasn't a Jedi per se. Jedi.
So then, how does she become a Force ghost? Only Jedi Masters can do that, and that was set up in the entire fucking 6 movies we've had previously, that you could only turn into a Force ghost if you're a master. Rilo Ken is not a master, and all of a sudden,
Kylo Ren,
whatever.
He
I don't
didn't
care.
show up. He didn't show up as a Force ghost.
He evaporates, Dan. That's the Force ghost. That's what happens when you turn into a Force ghost.
No, that's how the Jedis die.
No, that's not.
They become one with the Force.
That is not how they die.
That's right. He is. So in the end, he is technically a
ghost.
Become a Jedi. Well, before he dies,
but he wasn't a master
because he's wielding Yeah.
Okay. Who decides who's a master? They had a Jedi Council to decide if you're a master or not. Spoiler: there's no Jedi Council. So how are you supposed to depict someone to be a master if the people who are supposed to say you're a master no longer exist?
We have actually devolved into like really hardcore nerd stuff, and I will tell you exactly where it's told if you want me to do it.
I thought you didn't read the book.
No, this is in the movies. This is why we watch the movies. This is why we enjoy the movies, because it was in there. And in fact, in episode 3 of Attack of the Clones, what was it? The Revenge of the Sith. In Revenge of the Sith, they tell us that Qui-Gon Jinn has mastered coming back, and he's teaching Yoda how to become a Force ghost. That's in the story, and in the cartoons, they also elaborate on this. It's literally in the story, but they ignored it because they didn't involve the people who actually know shit in Lucasfilm.
They can't do that here.
No,
they
of
can't.
course not. They fucking didn't do anything here. It was just lazy.
No one could be a Jedi Master here, technically. Luke was a Jedi Master, and he wasn't even.
And he didn't train Rey. He didn't train.
But Yoda barely trained him. He left halfway through his training.
He had the books. The books were there. That's what that was.
Rey had the books.
Yes, and Kylo Ren didn't read them.
No,
so then and neither did
because
Leia.
He had Snoke. Snoke trained him. It turned him over to the dark side.
Yeah. No.
Good point.
Snoke is the one. It even says it. When.
That's another retcon.
She gives up being a Jedi because she knows that her son is going to need her in the future. So she focuses on that.
So she waits until he's about to die? I'm sorry, but that just lost me entirely. Like this entire. I mean, again, I don't want to nitpick, but it's hard not to when you have something so sloppy written in front of you.
She wanted him to be redeemed, so she used all her powers to do.
Why didn't she do it before he kills her husband? Like, why not do it then?
Because the dark side clouds the Force.
I feel like I sound like Rigo. Rigo, do I sound like you? I feel like I sound like
you're channeling your inner Rigo.
But it's lazy. It's retroactive. Continuity again, and they don't do a good job of
that
really
part. I
explaining
feel like
things.
it was fine. It wasn't the greatest, I'll admit, but for me, that wasn't the issue that I had with the film.
That was as bad as Sand. I don't like Sand because it's coarse. That's how bad that was.
I don't agree with that.
Well,
at all.
Rewatch.
The very ending was like very confusing for me.
How does she know where to go?
Well, no. Where Palpatine is like you will kill me, and then I will go in your body,
and then she kills him,
and then he's like, well, I am dead. And it's like, I thought he was gonna go in her body. What happened? You know? But she just killed him a different way. But that makes it okay.
Well, no, because she doesn't kill him. So like. Fear is the path to the dark side.
No.
Fear leads to anger.
Now you are apologizing.
Leads to suffering.
You are now apologizing for a story that doesn't.
No. I'm not. Honestly, I'm not.
I think it's just that I was like, that was fun to watch. That made no sense, but I enjoyed that.
Also, she should be the emperor because she's killed the whole damn everything. The Senate is gone. The First Order is gone. The Last Order is gone. She's literally the only politician left. Also, Palpatine's storyline is absolutely ridiculous.
That is
hardcore retcon. But
so hold on. So the first line in the crawl, as you know, the dead speak. The dead speak! Exclamation point. What the? Is this The Walking Dead? I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
This took me out of it. Why is Star Wars having this? And they don't even explain.
They were like, I don't know, cloning or something. That's what they say. There's a line, like a throwaway line. They're like, "What's cloning and technology?" That's why he's back.
Okay.
It was such rushed, unexplained. Like
it was like
Palpatine was never hinted at the whole time.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden, bam! Palpatine is back in this film.
Yeah,
which for me was so annoying.
And J.J. Abrams was like, "Oh no, we planned to do that the whole time." Bull. That is absolute bull.
Rian Johnson killed Snoke, so now you have to come up with an alternative.
Yeah, and here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I would have loved had it all been set up since Episode 7. I would have enjoyed all of that because Palpatine is the big bad. I mean, it's hinted at since like Episode 1 and Episode 3 that he's been around for a lot longer than we know, and that's a really cool concept because the Sith, and now is me going into really nerdy territory. The Sith use technology and the Force to keep themselves alive and to actually get better, which is why you have Darth Maul with the robotic legs. You have Darth Vader with the metallic, with the robotic everything. Like, the Sith do that. That's what the Sith do. It's in the lore, absolutely. But to introduce it in Episode 9 is the lamest thing you can possibly do.
At this point, they should have kept Kylo as the main villain.
Yeah, absolutely. And had a redemptive arc in some way, because it would have worked. I do think that Rian Johnson did a good job of setting that up, but they instead just pulled back so hard because, as Dan was saying, they bent for the internet trolls, and I do believe I agreed with you. These are trolls that people were online saying, we don't like Rose because she's Asian. Why is she there? Why is she the love interest?
Mary Sue.
Why is Ray Mary Sue? All these little things, and they really bent hard for those fanboys that are absolutely toxic, and they did a crap job. And I think that there was
just so much potential that it's just sad that they couldn't reach the full potential.
Would you have liked
maximum power? One would say.
Would you have liked if Rey just went to the dark side by the end of it?
That would have been great.
That was
and then
set up.
Kylo went to
the light side. He became Ben Solo. Yeah, that was set up from the initial first movie, and that would have worked.
Well, I really enjoyed the scene where she was fighting the dark side version of herself. I thought that was super awesome.
Yeah.
It would have been great if
for
they
the first 5 seconds. To see that?
I know. It would have been great if they would have spent a lot more time with that, and then to see the dark side Rey beat her. Yeah, and then
she becomes the dark side. Yeah, that would have worked so well. And I remember when we were talking about the Last Jedi, we were talking about like it would be great because they were setting all these elements up that she's going to be the bad one, and then they're going to do a switch, and then that would be really, and then you officially have a Rise of Skywalker where Ben Solo all of a sudden realizes, oh no, I've led her astray. I have to change in some way to fix her. And then that would have been really cool. But instead,
they heal each other.
Yeah,
which I enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I just thought that was really, really silly.
It's okay. They did it for love. which is a through line through all the Star Wars films, basically. Episodes, prequels had love in it with Anakin and Natalie Portman.
That scene,
and then so did Han Solo, Leia, and now this one, Kylo and Rey.
Yeah, that scene was so weird. The young version of Skywalker and Leia, where they're
Luke and
I thought it was strange. Like
CGI,
the CGI,
it was really bad. It was rushed. It was not done well.
It didn't look bad in IMAX.
No?
Okay, great. So we'll pay like $25 to watch it better.
Or if you have A-list, it
okay,
doesn't cost
great. So I'll just subscribe to another thing.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you. And then I think we should mention the 10-minute.
Which is also, if you watch.
Are we done with the review?
No. But I'm
just throwing it out there.
If you watched it in IMAX, you got to watch the first 6 to 10 minutes of Tenet, which is the next Christopher Nolan film. So that was fun to watch as well.
That's great. Cool.
Yeah.
That must have been better than this movie.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, there's only the first.
Can we talk about the other retcons in this movie? I mean, we can go on for hours. Honestly,
well, go ahead.
We have so we initially talked about John Boyega's Finn no longer having a relationship, but then he built another relationship with another woman.
Yeah, it was really
it's
weird.
Supposed to be Lando's daughter.
Is it?
That was like. It was
they said it in a Star Wars Celebration.
Now
it was one of those. It was one of those things where
that's so dumb.
Yeah, it was one of those
so dumb that they had to announce it in the freaking Celebration.
Yeah, it was like there's somebody for everybody because they're.
I thought he was about to have sex with a very young girl. It was like, well, let's find out where your parents came from.
Oh,
it was really weirdly delivered, and that's a shot you would not include because
Yeah, that's the other thing about this film too. Like exactly, the other women in this roles were there to basically bulk up the men in their parts.
Yeah,
I mean, Carrie Fisher, Carrie Russell.
Yes,
for Poe, which is funny because. There was rumors and talks that Poe's character might be
gay.
Yeah. And might have a crush on Finn. And in this film, they made sure that he was straight because they threw a female love interest for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
To retcon all this stuff in the back. There was a thing where they were saying Poe and Finn should hook up or whatever.
Well, and I would say that Oscar Isaac actually came out and said
he
was playing him as gay
and he was joking like even like in interviews and stuff. He'll call John Boyega his boyfriend. Oh, you're interviewing my boyfriend? Oh, that's my boyfriend. So like this whole thing that from The Force Awakens started to grow like momentum, and then it was squashed.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
So that's the one.
So I mean, I will say they do have a queer kiss in this. Two lesbians kiss in this
Yes,
movie,
which
but
was
it's super quick.
so bad because I like. Okay, so several things. One,
Well, I mean, it's bad, but it's also good because there's some representation. But then again, it's not enough representation.
That I think it's
it was
not,
like it was lazy. Like
It was
we're
like
not gonna give you Poe, but here's this here.
Yeah,
it was like
here's
a
this
throwaway.
one side character, which I don't even know her name, but here's a side character making out with another side character we don't know anything about. Whereas, for me, watching the original trilogies, I always saw Luke Skywalker as asexual, and I remember having clients that I would talk to who are asexual, and they would say like, "Oh yeah, that's a great representation of somebody like me," because the Jedi are asexual by definition, right? Like they're like not supposed to have any love interests.
Yeah, Jedi's. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so Poe and Finn's relationship was fundamentally encrusted in there, and it was a really interesting thing. And then that gets removed again because of the trolls. That's where that comes in because they were fighting so hard. No, they can't be gay. Well, who cares? It doesn't hurt the
My
story.
favorite is like, why does everything have to be gay now? Because they're fucking representation people.
Yeah,
Fucking wake up.
because we live in a world that's multicultural and that has different sexual orientations and different everything. And this movie was doing a really good job of that because, again, all the white folks got killed in the initial wars, which is why you have more representation. And that's actually that was part of the book, Mike. That was in the first book that they released. Was that the reason why we have more representation in color is because all the white people who were in power got killed.
They did not.
They did. It was in there.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, go look it up. So it's really again, it's not enough. People got pissed off, and my only opinion on that is that's what you're harking on. Like, did you not realize that in Solo, that there was a character who was fucking a robot, and we never really talked about it because that person was
Lando
Calrissian, and there's a moment in Solo in which one of the characters asks the robot, "How do you guys make it work?" And her response is, "Oh, we make it work." That's in there. We have gone past normal sexuality to robot human sex, and we're not complaining about that. But we're talking about a small little kiss. Get a fucking life, guys. Seriously, just like honestly, like it's a little weirder that Lando had sex with the Millennium Falcon. I think that's a lot weirder.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I agree wholeheartedly. Now, what did you guys think about the cameo of Harrison Ford?
I loved it. I thought it was really good. I actually, like I said, I think all the moments with Carrie Fisher and Kylo Ren, and even at that when Harrison Ford, which I was shocked by that he appears, the lines in which he delivers mimic what happens in The Force Awakens, and I thought that was poetic. I thought that was really well done. That's what I'm saying when people are saying.
Do you guys feel like that was Kylo Ren's memory,
Yes.
or do you feel like
No.
Leia helped bring him back for this moment?
No, that was a memory
I don't
that's
know.
been spoken about, and it's very clear in the movie. If you rewatch it again, it is a memory. He's not blue. That's what tells you it's a ghost.
No. Not that he's a ghost, but just that she incepted him in his mind.
No, I think what happens is that he dies, and his Kylo Ren persona dies with him, and so part of it is Rey's life force in him. That hope that she has is now healed him, and so in that he has this flashback. He's thinking about what happened with him and his father, and instead of doing the thing he did in The Force Awakens, he does the thing that he was initially going to do, which is throw away the lightsaber and kill that persona. And so I don't. No, it's not a ghost. It's not an image. It's his memory.
Because the ghosts, the blue light ghosts, they're only Jedi, right?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So it can, I guess, like it is ambiguous. I think you can't pick one or the other, right?
You can't. No. It's definitive by just the color.
No, but
You could just say he was never a Jedi. There was never any Force with that guy.
Oh, yeah, no, he's not a Force ghost.
so he could have, but it could have
been Leia.
it could have been Leia.
But
or-
Leia died.
Yeah.
Leia died by that point.
No, she was not
Dead.
She has a line where she's going to take all my powers to get him back,
Oh, you're right.
and so
Then that's a good
that's
point.
why I'm like, did Leia have some influence over him to
That's-
have Han Solo
You're right.
come into his mind?
You're right.
No.
Because why else would he? It's been years.
But when she says him back, she could have meant just Kylo Ren or Ben.
That's what I mean.
Oh.
But how does Kylo Ren change? It's to Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
No.
So
I
you're
don't
saying
think that's it. You guys are no.
Are you saying to get him? Because I think when Dan said that, I was wondering, did she mean Han Solo to get him back?
No.
No, to bring Kylo back from the dark side. Good.
Yeah, that was how I initially took it. But now I'm like, I wonder if it could have been taken like that as well.
Yeah,
you know?
For me, to bring him back was to show him the father. So I feel like she had some type of influence to bring him back. Or else, why did she die?
Yeah,
she dies because she projects her power across the universe like Luke did. It's exactly the same thing. To bring compassion to him, to stop him. Like, she actually stops him from doing the thing that she wants to do, or he wants to do, which is kill Rey or convert her enough that Rey kills him. That's what she was waiting for. She was waiting to stop him so that Rey can kill him and then bring him back. That's what that was. It wasn't, and that's the point where you see her just collapse. They put the blanket over her head, and that's all she wrote. She's gone at that point. And then you have the memory. It's a memory that he has. It's not a Force Ghost. It's not a projection.
It's nothing. Just, no one mentioned Force Ghost for Han Solo.
Then it's not a projection. It's Kylo Ren's memory, and that's what you get. You get that memory, and that's for me. I
still feel like Leia had some influence in it.
Well, of course she did. She led to him getting stabbed and shanked. Like, of course she did. But it wasn't a vision brought on by her.
What did you guys think of the scene with Rey and the giant worm? Or the giant creature where she heals him. I really enjoyed that.
I liked it.
It was cool.
Yeah, I liked it.
I thought it was an awesome setup to that scene.
Speaking of which, did you guys think Chewie died when Chewie died?
I wish he did. I wish he did.
I would.
Yes, of course he would have been pissed, but at least he would have felt something about. Like, I love.
No, because I feel like again they did Chewie dirty because like that would have been a fucked up way to have killed him.
Agreed, but Rey's reaction to what she did was amazing, and they should have kept it that way because it would have raised the stakes. None of the stakes were raised in this movie. I honestly didn't feel like there was any danger or threat in this movie because everyone can get healed. Dan, I stabbed you. Here, let me heal you. Oh, it's all taken away. This movie does a lot of takeaways. Like, it goes like, here's something like this, and then we save it in some way. This movie
I never feared.
Sorry, can I just jump in real fast? As a side,
jump into yourself.
As a side,
let me interrupt myself for a moment.
This movie steals a lot from Endgame. This movie steals a lot from Marvel's Endgame, and everything. Like, rewatch that ending, and beat for beat, there are moments in which on your left. The same thing, even down to the I am the Sith, like I am inevitable, and then Rey going I am a Jedi, and that's the I am Iron Man moment. Like the exact same things happen.
And the film is like you can predict the steps that are coming up.
No, but there's no prediction.
I didn't mind it.
But that's not prediction. It is a copy. It is a copy of Avengers Endgame.
More than just Avengers Endgame, I think it's just like there are like archetype beats that it follows. It's like it's this like the only.
So the radioing in and signifying that the backup has arrived.
That happened in New Hope with Han Solo saving them from the Death Star. So it's not.
No, he shoots first because Han always shoots first, and then he announces he arrives.
It's the same thing, though.
That's different. That's significantly different.
No, because he comes at the very last minute where he could have came in like maybe 15 minutes earlier and saved a lot of people.
Yeah, but it was just him. It wasn't the entire armada that the Doctor Strange people create portals for.
Right, but the whole thing is it's not. Even though Endgame did it, and they did such a great job with it,
much better job.
It is not an original thing. Other movies have done it as well.
Wouldn't you change it knowing that Marvel's Endgame has just released?
No,
you
because
would.
It was fine the way it was because it sparked hope in the universe that there were other people who were tired of their shit as well.
Yeah, and
exactly what it accomplished is what it did. Or what it did is what it accomplished. Whatever, it's the same thing.
Because I am Iron Man. I know. I'm aware. It was exactly that.
So what if it copied it? It was a good
same
ending.
damn thing happens.
Do it.
She dies. So does Tony. Like, it was exactly the same thing.
But she didn't die.
Oh, shut
She ended up going to Tatooine and taking up the Skywalker name
She does.
It's
yeah.
such a lame.
with the yellow lightsaber.
Can
she
I-
makes her own lightsaber.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
No, that's it.
No,
Okay.
and I was going to say one final thing. So this script actually got
One final
leaked.
thing.
Yeah, this is my last thing. The script got leaked online about 6-7 months ago. John Boyega left it under his bed. He was moving
yeah.
apartments and he left it under bed.
Wow.
I
Got
had
stolen.
Yes, that wasn't stolen. He left it under his bed, and the cleaning lady took it and
That's
then
awesome.
sold it for like 50 pounds. I think he said it was like very cheap. And then people read it and they were like, "Oh shit, this is a real thing." I read that script, and when I first read that script, there are things that they changed.
I thought you were gonna say 50,000.
No, it's just 50. It was
like,
it was just a little amount. She didn't know what she had. But anyways, so when I read that script, I thought there's no way that that's what they're going to do. They did change a couple of things, but nothing significant enough to me to say that I was disappointed when I read that 2 months ago and watching it. Even though like if I were to tell you the plot of Watchmen, it's enjoyable to watch because the way Damon Lindelof,
Because there's payoffs there.
yeah, he pays it off really well. And I think that by reading the story first and going like, oh, there's no way they're going to pull that off. I honestly went in this movie hoping that this movie would be really, really good. I was like, please pull it. JJ, I trust.
Had these high expectations.
No.
I
trust in JJ Abrams. Like, I really think he's a good director.
I really do think that was a part of like your increased dissatisfaction.
Sure, 36 years of hope because I've loved the Star Wars series, and then this movie just does not pull it off. But that's a disappointment. That's a disappointment.
To be fair, did 7 or 8 deliver in the way you had hoped?
7 did.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I trusted.
7 is probably my favorite one.
I trusted in
Okay.
J.J. Abrams, and you were saying you liked this one above the other ones. I liked the first one a lot more.
I'm not saying the first one. Or you when the first one you mean 7?
Yes.
Yeah, which I didn't like. I mean, I didn't not enjoy it, but I definitely enjoyed this one more.
Yeah.
But that's.
Well, go ahead and talk more about why you enjoyed it, Mike.
A lot of it was like the special effects, specifically the aliens.
So
the
you could
different
watch this
worlds.
movie in mute, and you would still enjoy it.
Probably, yeah. It was a fun movie for me. I didn't expect this to be like the best of the 3 of the trilogy, or like I didn't have high expectations for this film, and I just enjoyed it for what it was and for the ride that it took me on. And I wasn't really concerned with like the direction of which way the trolls had taken it, and I don't think you're like in line with like Star Wars trolls if you enjoyed this film. I think the casual viewer will enjoy, and I agree there are like things that they let go that they shouldn't have, which is just like that is a disappointment, but overall it's still a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
You know, despite like all the plot holes and you know, but you do.
I feel like this would have been a good first start to a new trilogy.
Yeah.
In the sense because they introduced a lot of different elements that weren't really covered in the other films.
Yeah.
So, and I guess that's the problem with this film is that there's really no through line with the other films, really, other than maybe Kylo and Rey.
Mm-hmm.
But even like Poe has a totally different arc
Yeah,
from this film.
he's a
than he
different
did
character
entirely from the other movies.
You didn't know he was a spice trader until this movie.
Yeah.
Like that was what? I'm sorry.
But even in the episode 7, which I did enjoy him in, he was funny.
Yeah.
But there wasn't much for him to do. Specifically, his character was supposed to be killed off, and then they decided last minute not to kill him off.
Yeah.
And this is actually the first film where Rey and him interact like a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where they don't really ever interact with each other in other films.
And initially, again, Mike, this was in the book. I read the book.
Okay.
They were Rey and Poe were supposed to have a relationship.
Okay.
That was in the book, and they completely got rid of that entirely.
Would you have preferred that if the film would have went that direction?
I think had they said it, it was omitted from the
I think it would have
the movie, but I think that had they introduced the characters meeting in the first movie and then seen the development of the relationship.
But they had already developed the
Finn and Rey?
Kylo and Rey. That had been
Not in the first movie.
Not in the first movie.
You're right. Not in
Not in the first movie. That's what I mean. It's
It wasn't until The Last Jedi when they started to do Raylo is what they call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a couple comments. Rigo says, yes, Star Wars equals cats in outer space.
Yes.
Whatever, Rigo.
Yeah. Okay.
JJ Soda also says, it's a soft dine-in for him, but I do not believe it's Abrams' fault entirely. Which is agree. I had mentioned that earlier in our review.
Yeah, go
back and listen, because Abrams had a ton of crap he had to
He had a deadline he had to get to, and he did the best he could, but that doesn't mean it's any good.
Well,
When good
it's not entirely his fault, though.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, when good directors fail, you still have elements of a good movie, and that's what we were talking. That's why I wanted to start the review with all the positive, because there are a lot of positive in this movie. The actors wouldn't have been able to give the performances had they had a bad director. That's important. The composition
and the special effects are amazing. They
special
still look
effects
good.
were amazing. All that stuff was really, really good. The problem lies with the script, and the script just doesn't work. That's it.
It worked enough to be enjoyable.
A popcorn film, which Star Wars never was.
Mike is part of
the Trolls?
the Trolls. No, part of the 86% that enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I would say it's like 70% for me.
I would say it's probably 65 for me.
Okay.
And you go with the full 86? Or 90? 100? 100? 100?
I would say it's like an 80.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it was like an 80. It's
like 80%, 70%, 60, 65%.
The like all the
it's still fresh, which means
it would still be fresh. It's just not good.
I really I just enjoyed the all the aliens in this, all the alien worlds, the alien cultures that you get to
and
see.
You are allowed to like those things,
and I don't need permission to like it.
Well, too damn bad. You
like
just
whatever I want. No, it was just fun to experience.
Where did you think of them bringing back Lando, the actual Lando? Well, I guess Donald Glover's Lando too, but bringing Lando back in this film, do you feel like it was out of nowhere? Because
it does. He does appear out of nowhere. That's the thing, though, right? It's like out of all the universe, out of all the planets, they go to Burning Man, and they find
Coachella,
and of course they would find Lando there because he's having sex with all of them. Because he has sex with robots, guys.
JJ says that Ben should have lived. That's his biggest disappointment.
I agree.
Do you agree?
I do. I think that would have made way more sense.
Yeah, he should have.
Yeah, and I
would.
would
could have had Force babies.
Listen, can we not talk about babies because we have to accept that Palpatine had sex with somebody? Like
so that's how the baby Yoda's born.
Yeah, that's
the only thing is
timeline doesn't work, Mike.
It would have been great if it did, though.
I would have liked to see Rey training the new Force sensitive people.
Yeah, what happened to that plot hole?
And then Finn come out of nowhere and be one of the students.
Okay,
that would have been fun.
That would have been funny to watch. Yeah,
because in The Last Jedi, the one message I did like, even though a lot of people didn't, was that anyone could have the Force.
No, that was a thing that everybody loved. I thought that was
no. People hated it.
Oh, okay. People are stupid.
Yeah, people are stupid. But like anyone,
people are only smart when they agree with you.
Correct. Yeah,
when it makes sense, Mike. Anyone can be Force sensitive. You don't have to be part of this linear family. Of people.
That was an interesting line. Which the things are stronger than blood. I thought that was interesting. So you're not bound by what other people would consider as your fate of who you have to be.
So I did really hate that final moment where she says Rey Skywalker, because I think what would have been more powerful, again, following the through line that Rian Johnson had said, was had she responded with
Palpatine? Scare the shit out of everyone?
No.
I am Palpatine.
Well,
then
she could.
Shoots lightning at the...
Yeah, because she does not control it, because she has never been trained. No, had she just said, no, my name is just Rey. I think it would have been powerful enough for her to just take ownership.
Like Prince?
Yeah, just I'm Rey. Yeah. Well, no, because it's Star Wars. People don't have full names.
That's
so had she just gone I'm just Rey, and that's who that's it. And ending with that would have been way more powerful than the sellout Rey Skywalker. What? No. come on, like we are done with the Skywalker name. Let's finish it with Ben, and then we're done with it.
Or
But
what if she would have like made up her own or something?
yeah, that would have been great too.
Okay.
But I think
Or what if she would have said Rey Organa?
that would have made way more sense than Rey Skywalker, because she seemed to have had a more relationship with Leia than with Luke. With Luke, she only spent like 2 days with.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it would have made way more sense had she gone with Organa.
I kind of wish also that Mark Hamill would have, or Luke would have been in the film more instead of
Yeah.
the one scene.
Yeah.
The one scene that retroactively
That
changes the whole fucking movie.
Is he stuck on the island? Like,
No.
right? Because he was a Tatooine.
Yeah, you see him in Tatooine.
So, like, why did they wait till she was on the island for him to show up? He could have showed up anytime.
He stays there out of fear. I don't know.
That's where he died, so he has to stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's his Overlook Hotel.
Yeah, I guess. It's a bed and breakfast on the island.
At least he showed the porgs again.
Yeah.
So, anything else that we should discuss? I'm trying to think.
Any other things you want to spoil?
Like,
Yeah. How did you like Palpatine when he's shooting the lightning in the sky?
So dumb. It was so dumb. Like, where did he get all that power?
I hated the final order. I didn't like that. I hated.
Where did the ships?
villains.
Oh, hold on. So another real big question is, where did they get the troops for those ships? How did they build those ships if you need Kyber crystals to create Death Star material? That was in Rogue One. That was in Star Wars, a whole damn series. To build that many ships with Death Star technology, you're stretching a lot right there.
Yeah.
And that, again, that's part of the retconning that makes
And again,
no sense.
why do they have to go with planet-destroying weapons?
Yeah.
Like, we have done that story so many times. Like, why can't it be
Ewoks.
or something?
Yeah, just an infestation of Ewoks. Ewoks with syphilis. That's our new
Or
tool.
why can't like have
Is that Lando's subplot?
Yes.
what would have been cool is like if they used the Darth Plagueis thing and brought people back from the dead that would have dead.
Zombies.
Yes.
That would have been
I'm just
interesting.
You
kidding.
know, no. But that would have worked, because in the first line, the dead have risen, and all of a sudden, this whole
So all the like zombie
Story.
Skywalker.
this
Rise
whole
of
story
Skywalker.
becomes a zombie story. That would have made sense.
I think we have ourselves a winner.
The walking
the,
Sith.
the
Walking Sith. That's
There
good.
you go, the walking Sith. Yeah. Carl.
No, it's not.
He's like
it's
in a robe.
Coral.
He has like 2 lightsabers, and stuff. But he still has the cowboy hat. He needs the cowboy hat.
And
Wait, it's
one
a
eye.
Western.
And just one eye, though.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
It is a Western.
Yeah.
All right. So any final moments you guys want to talk about?
No. I'm done with this movie.
What other things can we spoil?
I've forgotten this movie already.
I feel like we spoiled everything already.
I think we did a big chunk of things, because this movie is a dumpster fire. The plot is, anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright.
Anything else?
I think we've covered all that I can think of right now.
Yeah.
So
Reylo is a thing that I enjoyed.
Cool. I'm glad you like that, Dan.
I hated the Kylo, the Knights of Ren.
Oh,
Wasted.
they were so useless.
so wasted.
there were two. I know it makes no sense in the plot, but I really enjoyed the visual of just this like gigantic mechanical arm connected to
From Assassin's
Lord
Creed?
Palpatine.
You mean the Assassin's
Yeah,
Creed?
yeah,
10?
yeah, yeah. It is the Assassin.
Why? Why was there an Assassin's
I
Creed?
know it makes no sense.
No
It doesn't-
sense.
It doesn't match, but it looked awesome.
Also,
I
what
was
the
like,
hell was
I
going
like,
on with the Sith that were behind them the whole
It
time?
wasn't Sith. They were
weren't.
they were followers.
Sure.
They were worshippers of.
I was
whatever.
like, that makes no sense. But it
I
looks
feel like
awesome.
you know what would have been cool? Would have been cool is if we, like, instead of there being like just followers, if they would have taken out the cloaks and they were all clones of Palpatine.
That would have been rad. See, that would have been cool.
Well, is that what they hinted at? Because they
They
showed
didn't hit anything.
They didn't hit anything, Mike.
because they do show like a test tube, and you do see like
You see
were
Snoke.
they-
You
you
see
see
Snoke.
Snoke.
Yeah, but you
oh,
don't.
it's Snoke. God, you're right.
But also,
Sorry,
if you're
Snoke.
gonna listen, if you have the technology, here's the biggest plot hole. If you have the technology of cloning yourself and passing powers on to your clone, why didn't Palpatine just do that initially instead of having to wait for Rey to show up? Like, wouldn't you just restore your body to like its pure natural form and then take over the universe again? Like, why wait 40 years What that makes no sense. Like,
I know.
Well, they needed a blood relative.
You know what
I
they
don't know.
needed? They needed a plot device that made little
That's the
sense.
thing,
We're
uh,
related.
JJ says, I don't know if you guys talked about this, but did you guys feel that Abrams had no choice but to use the Emperor as the main bad since they killed Snoke in the last movie? No, because they could have gone with Kylo as being the big bad in this film.
Yeah.
They didn't have to go with Palpatine at all.
Or taking Rey to the dark side and
And
at some point
done a
Which I feel like that.
reversal.
I feel like that they should have done that because we've already spent time with these characters, and for them to have gone crossover to either side would have been more interesting than what they did with Palpatine.
Yeah.
I just wish Palpatine was not a thing.
I mean,
like you mentioned, they made it Legends. It's part of the books where they bring back Palpatine through cloning device. I mean, Camino is a whole cloning
I mean, he
planet,
literally
basically.
he's the one who created all of them. So like he wouldn't know how to create all that stuff.
But also, I feel like it would have been great if General Husk.
That lame ass
was the spy.
Yeah.
But he was like not used so well. But that new general or admiral, whoever, who was great. I actually really liked him.
Yeah.
But he reminded me of Thrawn, and I wish he would have had Thrawn, and I wish he would have had other characters from the Star Wars
General
universe.
Pride.
If they would have had like Sabine, or if they would have had Ezra, or I know Freddie Prinze Jr., who played Kanan in Star Wars Rebel, makes a voice cameo when he does Rey. But like Ahsoka Tano would have been great to be.
I would have loved seeing her. Yeah,
like anyone from the other universes, just to have them like show up somewhere would have been great to see.
And just to add to that, like Thrawn came out in Rebels and was an amazing character in that. But they also had the Sith holocrons.
Oh yeah.
And in this movie, they completely renamed them for whatever.
Oh, I know the Sith Wayward or the
what?
Sith
Wayfinder.
Wayfinder.
Yeah, like,
I hated that name.
Why did you need to do that? I heard a comment from like one of the Disney people saying like oh, we just didn't want to confuse audiences.
Holocron.
Who?
Awesome.
Who are you going to confuse? You're introducing a new concept, but it was set up in the TV
Rebels,
show,
which is amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
Rebels is such a good show.
And so, like, it would have been following. Again, they kept them out of the room. I think that's the problem. They kept them out of the room, and that's kind of what happens here. So, yeah, so stupid.
But we say, dine in!
Nope,
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Dine in Star Wars.
I will
the
say,
Rise of Skywalker.
Take out. You can watch it at home. You don't need to watch it in theaters.
It's 2 against 1.
Go watch
it's
Bombshell
2 against 1.
instead. It's a much better movie. Much better
Stop.
movie.
or no, yeah.
So we say dine in for Star Wars.
All right.
The Rise of Skywalker.
IMAX, right?
IMAX is pretty good to watch it in. Also dine in for Bombshell, which is another one we recommend to go watch.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys so much for reviewing, and thank you, Mike, for hosting.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you,
Final words. Cats.
I said final words already, and you guys said no.
No. Can you review Cats really quickly for us?
Oh, Cats is a total leftovers. I did go watch it. It is not that the story itself is complicated, though it kind of is, because there's Jellicle cats.
Angelical cats?
No, Jellicle cats.
Like jelly?
That's what they call them.
I'm already confused.
To go to have a Jellicle life. And there's there's Judi Dench's character who, I'm just going to spoil the fucking film.
In your description, it sounds like it needs new special effects.
It definitely does. Which they are doing, which is why we're not reviewing it, because they're going to redo the special effects. We'll see how that goes. The story is very odd, where there's like 10 cats, main cats really, in the ensemble, that are trying to vie for a better life, a Jellicle life. And Judi Dench goes around and watches them perform, and whoever wins will have a better life as a Jellicle cat. Now, though it's a leftovers for me, I will say Jennifer Hudson is a standout.
Oh, okay.
She is the only redeeming factor in this film. This CGI is terrible, but her voice, she is just, when she sings Memories, is like everyone will pay attention to that part. And I would recommend YouTubing that part so you don't have to go to the movies to watch it.
Okay.
Because she does an amazing job. Though the sad part is she looks very creepy while she sings it.
The whole thing looks creepy, yeah.
It's really bad CGI. It's really hard to watch the whole thing, and just because they have human hands and human feet, and everything else is cat-like except for the face.
Is it like the island of Dr. Monroe?
Kind
or-
of. It's
Okay.
so-
No, but that would look real because this looks.
I do
unreal.
not understand why Tom Hooper, who also did The King's Speech, which was a fantastic film, he did Les Miserables, which was a pretty good film, though there were some choices he made in that film that were questionable, because it's one of my favorite musicals. And then this one is just like, what the hell are you thinking, man?
He was on drugs.
Like, the musical itself, they're in makeup and costumes. Why
Yeah.
can't you just do that?
I
instead of
think
being
it would have been a much better film.
much better film,
Yeah.
probably better reviewed than this CGI crap. And then I don't know, it's just so weird.
Special effects were too much of a distraction.
It was.
Okay. Yeah.
It was really not good to watch. Other than Jennifer Hudson, who was a delight to listen to.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's the review for
Awesome.
for
Thank
Cats.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that would do it for us here at Movie Menu Reviews. We say dine in for Bombshells. Definitely go watch it. Spread the word. Dine in for Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, though we wouldn't be surprised if you don't watch it. And leftovers for Cats.
I like how you squeezed in that review.
Thank
That
you.
was
No, I
good.
really
Yeah,
appreciate it. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
it,
Z,
yeah.
for
Yeah, thank you for reminding me.
Of course, of
I
course.
completely forgot. So let us know what you think of these films, what you thought of Bombshell, what you thought of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, and what you think of Cats as well.
Yes.
If you agree or disagree, let us know. You can comment on this post on Facebook, or you can check us out on Instagram or Twitter or YouTube channel. Also, check out our website, moviemenupodcast.com. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to your podcast. We are there. We are everywhere. You cannot get rid of us. We shall rise.
Maximum power.
Thank you, Z. Thank you, Mike. I'm Down the Man. Until next week, we'll be back with on your episode of Movie Menu Reviews. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks.
See you later.
Skip it.